Hi everyone, my name is India Carter and I am the Workforce Development Officer with the URA. And with me today I have Anita White from Yelp.
Hello, thank you for
Hey.
having me.
Yep. So would you like to give an overview of what Yelp is?
Yes, I would love to. Thank you, India. So, Europe is a free 1 year career development opportunity in which young adults ages 18 to 30 here in Pittsburgh are able to develop their professional and technical skills and put those skills to work at internships with Fortune 500 companies. Ultimately, it provides them with the opportunities for full time employment throughout the 1 year or after the 1 year program ends. And we currently operate in 19 major cities across the United States. And we've been around for 20 years, but we are launching here for the first time in Pittsburgh. So we're new to the city. And we are thrilled to be partnering with BNY Mellon to launch our site in Pittsburgh this March.
Wow, that's a lot. So what are the requirements or qualifications for this program?
All right. So, what we require of the adults that apply into our program is that you have to be between the ages of 18 and 30, have a high school diploma or be a GED recipient, eligible to work in the United States. You must be living in the Pittsburgh region, given that our partner is Bank of New York Mellon, downtown Pittsburgh. That's where our site would be located. And just being motivated to launch a professional career because the program it's intense and it does take a year to complete. And so therefore, we want our students to start and complete and graduate our program so that they can be a part of the successful outcomes that we have seen over the last 20 years with our graduates.
Okay. So how does someone apply and what does that process look like?
Yeah, great question. A lot of people do ask. And so it's pretty simple. And a person who applies into our program can apply um, and complete the admissions process and know whether or not that they have been accepted into our program within 7 to 10 business days. So the first step would be to submit an online interest form. So you would simply go to www.yearup, that's yearup.org. And there's a link at the top of the page where it says become a student. When you click that link, it directs you to our interest form. The interest form has a few simple questions like your first and last name, date of birth, do you have a high school diploma or a GED, and I think might ask what your zip code is, but just pretty straightforward. Once a person submits that online interest form, they're immediately directed to schedule an information session. The info session is the second step in the process. A student or an applicant can complete this info session in one of three ways. They can complete it right there immediately after they submit that interest form online through our online interest or info session. It's a series of YouTube videos. It takes about 45 minutes or to an hour to complete. Another option that they have would be to join a live stream info session with me every Tuesday at 1 p.m. I host information sessions via Zoom, and they're able to schedule that online. And the last way would be for us to email them a copy of our info session that was pre recorded. Once they complete that info session, we are notified and they are invited to schedule their interview with us. So the interviews, given that we are in this pandemic setting, we're all virtual to keep everyone safe and to follow our state guidelines. We complete our admissions interviews via Zoom and we schedule them to be 1 hour long, no more than that. And our applicants will receive that Zoom link the day before their interview with us. They don't have to do anything in particular to prepare for the interview. It's not a job interview, so we don't ask questions like, why should we hire you? Or tell me about yourself. We really use this interview as a way to assess a person's program interest and how we can provide them with the support that they need to complete the program successfully. Once they complete that interview, they are asked to complete an online application. It takes about 15 minutes to complete. And there is some documentation that we ask for, a copy of your ID and some sort of identification outside of your ID, like a birth certificate or a social security card, and then proof of high school graduation. So whether that's your diploma, a transcript, or your GED certificate. Once they provide that documentation, we provide them with an admissions decision. And if they are accepted into the program, they're then moved on in the admissions process through what we call our ready to launch. And so that consists of several things: a background check, a credit check, and also coming to several admissions events where they'll be able to meet admission and program staff members and other students who will be joining them in their current cohort. That'll lead them all the way up until enrollment, which enrollment is that first week of classes. So it'll be either in the spring or the fall for that student, depending on which cohort they applied into.
Okay. So Anita, are there any additional information that you would like to share?
Yeah, there are just a few more things that I want to share before we wrap up today. We are currently still accepting applications for our cohort that begins this March. It's our very first class. It's very special. We're very close to filling all of the seats in our class. So we've been very excited about that, despite the challenges that the pandemic has brought upon our admissions team. The deadline to apply for our very first cohort is Friday, February the 19th. And so we encourage anybody who is interested in joining this program to apply sooner rather than later, because like I said, we're very close to filling our class. And this first cohort does launch on Tuesday, March 9th of this year. But I also would like to note, for anybody who's in high school, who's interested in doing this program when they graduate, we do have rolling admissions, and we launch new classes every spring and every fall. So generally March and September. So a person who might be in high school who's looking to join this program when they graduate, they can still apply for the second cohort whenever they're ready. We are launching virtually right now, given the circumstances that we find ourselves in this pandemic. And so we do a lot of work on the back end to ensure that our students are set up for virtual work from home and that they have all the supplies and the equipment that they need. And the last most important thing that I want to share is that here at URA, we have a high support, high expectation model. And so for us, high support comes from our Student Supportive Services Department. So we have staff members on our team who provide wraparound services to our students. And so the kind of support that we offer is anywhere from health and wellness, financial literacy and budgeting, dependent care, immigration and DACA status support, understanding and applying for government assistance, transportation, food, professional clothing, housing, and debt management. And so again, during the interview, we really assess where a person is, and we identify them in a holistic way on how we can provide that support to them. We work really hard to build connections with organizations in the community that provide different support for adults living in the Pittsburgh region. So help paying for rent or help paying for utilities. We build those connections so that when our students come to us and they express the needs that they have, we're able to help clear that runway for them, remove barriers for them, or work with them to remove the barriers in their lives. And then with the partnerships that we build with organizations in the community, we're able to then say, hey, I've got somebody that I work with over at this organization. I'm gonna let them know that you'll be in touch so that we can make sure that nobody falls through the gaps whenever we're referring adults to the different supports that are available to us here in the city of Pittsburgh.
Well, that's a lot, and I want to thank you for sharing about Yelp, Anita. And that is all. Have a great day.
Thank you. All right, thanks, India.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.